Hey, y'all know me. I'm grooving.
Bears. Welcome to week number 11. Today on the broadcast, we have Guy Moore, we
What up,
have
though?
Keith Flournoy, we have Jaye Beasley, and we have Terrence Lang sitting in for Tammy Harris. How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty
I'm
good.
good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty
Okay.
good.
All right. I
Happy
know we may
Thanksgiving,
be
everybody.
fighting through a little technical. Okay. We may be having a little technical difficulties tonight. I'm not sure because I see a slight delay going on, but we'll work through that.
Okay.
Hey, did anybody listen to the press conference today where there was announced that Mitch Trubisky was going to start on Sunday?
We knew that
No
after the
surprise.
last game.
Right. No surprise. No surprise. No surprise.
It's like that jet sweep.
No surprise.
No surprise. No surprise at all.
No surprise, huh? Okay. Yeah, so tonight is the prediction show. I know we skipped 1 week. We didn't have one last week because of it was a bye week last week. But tonight also on football one-on-one, it looked like Plank is having some difficulties. It looked like he dropped off the broadcast. Let me bring him back in.
All right, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah, you look good. You look good.
Okay.
Okay, so before we get into it, anybody want to talk about the changes that was going to be obvious that Trubisky was going to start instead of Foles?
Trubisky's gonna start? Really?
Trubisky
Yeah.
going to start, yeah.
They're not gonna wait till right before halftime to tell us?
No.
Well, I guess they didn't have no choice because Foles did not practice all week. And so that was obvious that Mitch was going to start today. I mean, not today, but
Well,
on
it was
Sunday.
obvious.
But
It was obvious that he was going to start anyway, because I really think that Matt Nagy's whole thing was like, okay, you know what? I digress. I need to try to see what's up with this offense. We'll get into that once we talk about the questions. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
okay.
surprised
Jay's not
about?
surprised at all.
You know what I'm really surprised
You know-
about, man? When Nick got hurt, I'm like, oh man, he messed up. But when they said, well, he has a bruised hip, I'm like, oh, he just bruised his ass bone, and he was out there like he was about to die. I thought he was dead. He was like, oh Lord, help me! They pulled him off the car, dude. You ain't do nothing.
The
Somebody
stretcher?
just punched you in your butt. He just
They
played
bought
it.
the stretcher. They bought
Yeah.
the
Brought the
stretcher for a
stretcher.
bruised
Right.
bone. They bought the stretcher for the bruised bone. Yeah, okay. That was all.
All they
That was
needed
all
was
I need to see.
Maceo and a cape or whatever it was on that one, man. It was like the Academy Award goes to on that one. That was like,
You're right. He had teammates coming up to him,
Yeah.
wishing him well. Hey, guy, get better. We still gonna be there for you. Like, he could have played the next play actually. So that was pretty bad as far as I was concerned.
It's going to be a lot of surprises. A lot of surprises this game. I think Matt Nagy knows he's coaching for his career these last couple of games.
yeah, yep.
Clearly.
And
Right.
his job, not his job, but his career. You absolutely right about that, man.
Well, he coaching
Right.
for his career as an offensive coordinator because it doesn't look like he's gonna get any offers as a head coach anytime soon.
Mm.
He can set up that net for the kicker.
Yeah. Hey, Plank, you got a little
Okay.
static in your communication. Do y'all hear static in Plank's Mike? I heard a little static in
Yeah, a
his
little
mic.
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
All right, I'm having a day.
Yeah, it was a little static there. Okay, hey, let's go on to the first question tonight, which is, let's get that question up. What do the Bears need to do to win against the Packers? My question kind of disappeared on the screen. I definitely know, like the young folks said, the internet is tweaking tonight.
Right. Right.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Where you want to go with it?
There we
Hold
go.
on, here we
There we
go.
go.
I think there we go. What do the Bears need to do to win against the Packers? The Bears are 5-5, and the Packers are 7-3. Who would like to take the first stab at this?
I can go. I think Mitch Trubisky is going to have to be utilized in this game. His mobility, Darnell Mooney has to be more utilized in this game. Everyone expects Robinson to get the bulk of the receptions, but this has to be a big game for Mooney. And an unknown receiver has to come through for the Bears this game because they're going to have to throw the ball, and Mitch is going to have to run play options a lot this game. His mobility is going to be the key to beating the Green Bay Packers. That's another reason why I knew automatically for this Packers game that Mitch would have to be in this game because of his mobility and the intangibles of what he brings in extending plays.
Good point, Terrence.
Okay, good point, Terrence. Okay, yeah, thank you, Terrence. For those who just tuning in, Terrence is wow, it's kind of throwing me off because I'm getting like a delay on my screen. But Terrence is filling in tonight for Tammy, who's out sick tonight. Who else would like to? Who's next? You up next, guy?
Well,
okay, there you go, Jake.
Well, what we need to do is you gonna go, Jay?
Go ahead, guy. No, go ahead, guy. Go ahead.
We're gonna call a pastor for prayer, and when the pastor leaves, we're gonna bust out the fifth. That's what the Bears need. No, I'm serious. You know what? I'm looking at some stats. For example, Green Bay, their defense is ranked 16th, but they're like 26th in interceptions and they're 29th in turnovers. So, one, we need to control the clock as best we could. If I'm not mistaken, David Montgomery's off the concussion protocol, so I think that he's going to actually be in. We need to control the clock, take our time, run the ball, but most importantly, they need to utilize Mitch to the best of his ability. You know, there's certain things that he does well. One thing I can say about him, yeah, he's made some crazy mistakes, but one thing about Mitch, when the going gets tough, he look around, don't see nobody, he's gone. As long as we're moving the ball forward, even if it's 3, 4, 5 yards, if we can kind of beat their defense up a little, we got a chance. But I just think they need to control the clock. The offensive line is a given, but, you know, I really do believe control the clock and kind of take our time and run the ball a little bit. That's all I got, man.
Okay, Jay. Good point.
Okay, guy. Well, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what you just said. I got a few things. Few things, like I said. First of all, Nagy is 0-2 in his 3 years after a bye week, which is not good. Green Bay lost last week, which is not good because Aaron Rodgers be licking his chops. And, you know, Aaron Rodgers hate the Bears. He hate the Bears. That whole smirk that he be having on his face when he be on the sideline. This is going to be a challenge. Just to, and y'all know me, I'm a stat guy. Just throwing some stats out there. I told you guys, the Packers are 42-18 in the last 30 years against the Bears. They are 17. They've won 17 of the last 20 games against the Bears. Devontae Adams been in the league 5 years. He got 50 touchdowns. 5 years, wide receivers for the Bears got 52 touchdowns. That's combined. Devontae Adams has 10 touchdowns this year, 7 of them in the red zone. 7 touchdowns in the red zone out of 10. Allen Robinson, who is our top receiver, he got 7 targets in the red zone. So the bottom line is the Bears got to be able to control the ball. The first 3 games Mitch started, we averaged 111 yards rushing a game, only 180 yards passing, which is still putrid. Those are putrid. I got a new word for y'all. Those are putrid stats for offense
okay.
in the NFL. But we got to be able to control the clock. We got to be able to control the clock. The Bears have given up 14 sacks in the last 4 games. We got to be able to control the clock. And outside of that, it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle for the Bears right now.
Okay. Jay, I think I got a little bit of a different perspective on that. First off, I think defensively, we can play them even. So even though they got Aaron Rodgers and, you know, he's a great quarterback, Admittedly, he's a great quarterback. I think we can more than hold our own against him. The issue there ends up being offense. So offensively, we've got to pare down our playbook. At this point, we're going with a new offensive coordinator. We've got it coming off a bye week. We have to go with plays that you're 100% certain are going to work. All of these trick plays, and we might be able to pull this off. You might as well throw that out the playbook. So we need to pare it down with plays that you have a higher percentage that they're going to be successful, and make this a much slower game. The more time we're on offense, the less time Aaron Rodgers has to kind of pick us apart. So I think it's going to come down to that chess game. The more, if we have the opportunity to keep him off the field, that increases our percentage and our ability to win. That's just my assessment.
I agree. I totally agree.
I like it. Yeah. Tempo.
I totally agree.
What you got, Bernard?
Hey, got going up. I'm having some delays, and I keep dropping.
That's on C. It's on C.
It got go already because I'm having like some.
Yeah, I think I already went. But
sorry.
You already went already?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. My broadcast keep dropping tonight for some reason. But anyway, I think what the Bears need to do tonight, not tonight, but on Sunday, the Bears are gonna have to be up tempo the whole game. Mitch is gonna have to extend some of those third down by running the ball if he has to. He gonna have to throw caution to the wind as far as that part. The Bears gonna have to discover a run game somehow. Green Bay is terrible against the run. The Bears got to find a way to exploit that. You can't go into that game throwing 41 times. You're gonna have to go in that game a little bit more balanced offense, but they're gonna have to be better on third down conversions, and they can't go to sleep in the third quarter like they normally do. That's going to be a bad result for them doing that.
Which I actually think it's just a different game plan when Mitch is under center. Nagy, it ain't gonna be Nagy, it's gonna be Laser. But Nagy, the offense is different when Mitch is under center because quote unquote they don't trust him. They do a lot of more 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, the I formation, which actually is better for them for the running game because it just works out a little bit better. And I just really think that because Mitch is back under center, which is how we gonna say that's our best selection, and it is really not, but it is what it is at this point. I just think it's gonna be a different call as far as offensively, as far as play calling is concerned.
Jay, I agree with you. I think what we have to do also, as far as Mitch, most good NFL quarterbacks, you teach them to go through their first read, second read, third read. If it's not there, go back very quickly, looking at that first read. The directive for Mitch have to be, if you look at that third read and it's not there, just go ahead and run. He's going to be more productive that way than actually trying to do this RPO, because at that point, he's not good enough to figure out whether or not he should have gave the ball to the first back or if he should have kept it himself. So you got to make his running situations much more clear. The third guy isn't open, you go ahead and just tuck it and run. Get 2 plays, 3 plays, whatever. And that's how I see it going.
And if I could just chime in real quick, one of the biggest advantages for this particular game with the run play option, Green Bay running defense, and their passing defense is mediocre. But the key thing that I'm going to take away from this game is 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks are questionable for this game. And if a decent quarterback, and I'll stress again, a decent quarterback, that you're lacking on your corners, I'm going after them all game.
You got to exploit
your top
that.
3 cornerback. You got to exploit that. If they don't do that, that's shame on Matt Nagy. Shame on him.
I agree, man.
I agree, Terrence. Okay. I agree. I totally agree.
That's a great point, Terrence. I want to bring up let's get to this part right here before we get to the predictions, where we kind of bring in our bragging rights. Tammy's not on the broadcast tonight, but Tammy is 4-6. Jay is 3-7. I'm 5-5. Guy's 4-6, and Plank is 5-5. So, hey, before we get to this part, let me share a little information. I think somebody just mentioned one of the things here. Okay. We have the Bears offense is ranked 31st. I actually, on the last broadcast, I thought they was going to be ranked 32. I think I mistakenly said defense was going to be dead last, but I meant the offense was going to be dead last. But they actually still at 31.
Still
just barely above the yeah, they're trying to lose games. Yeah, think about the Jets are 32 and they're trying to lose games, and the Bears are 31 trying to win games. The Bears offense have a total of 3,009 yards. Now, I want to put that in perspective to an offense that is working. Kansas City Chiefs passing yards is 3,005 yards. So Kansas have more yards passing than the Bears offense have running and passing. That's an interesting stat.
He got more yards than that for left-handed.
The Packers offense is ranked 7. They average about 30.8 games, 30.8, 3.0.8 game points a game. The Bears average 19.1 points a game. The Packers offense, I'm sorry, the defense is ranked, what was it, 16?
Yeah.
I wrote down 12, but I think it's 16. They give up 25 points a game.
So that makes them average.
So I say something
right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Very average. The Bears defense is ranked 9th, and they give up 20 points a game. So hence, if you only score 19.1 games on offense per game, but you're giving up 20.9, that means you actually are a losing team statistically, because you actually are not gaining more points than you actually giving up, where the Packers are actually scoring 30 points and giving up 25.
That makes you a 5-5 team statistically. That makes you a 5-5 team statistically. If you're scoring 19 points and giving up 20, that's right down the middle.
You're gonna lose.
Right. Well, you're gonna win. You're gonna lose just as much as you win, which is what our record says.
You know what? But like they say, you know, like with numbers, the Bears are ranked 3rd in turnovers, and the only reason why we rank 3rd in turnovers is because we get 3 plays of series. They should be first, but yeah.
Hey, so let's get to the moment of truth. What was that, Jay?
And I was gonna say, not only that, you know, our defense has did a heck of a job. You know, we rank first in giving up third downs. So that's a plus on our side. And also we rank first in the red zone as a defense. Right. But the bottom line is, if you get Aaron Rodgers 4 times in the red zone, how many times is he going to score? You know what I'm saying? The defense can only do so much. This whole thing from this game on, these next 6 games is going to tell the story. Who's who in the zoo with this offense? Because I think what's going to happen is it's going to be Mitch from here until the end of the season, and it's going to be on his shoulders to actually put some points on the board. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
And, you know, adding to that, take key points off the board. Defensively,
absolutely.
Chuck Pagano is going to have to show his smarts this game. If he does not double team Devontae Adams this entire game, he doesn't need to be the defensive coordinator anymore.
I hear you, Terry.
I understand. You got to put Fuller on them and have at least Gibson over the top every play. They have to do this guy and make someone else beat you.
I hear you. I hear you. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Hey, who want to go up first giving that prediction?
You know I'm fearless. Let's go.
Okay, fearless one.
Okay. My prediction is 28-15 Packers. I don't see the Bears outscoring the Packers in this game as much as it hurts me to say, because I got my top two teams playing against the same team. Top team is the Bears. Second best team is whoever's playing the Packers. It just so happens to be the Bears. So it sounds like I'm gonna take 2 losses this week, and it really hurts to say. I hope it doesn't turn out that way, but that's what the eye test tells me.
Okay, who's up next?
Well, the Bears can't score no points, and that's the problem. The Bears can't score no points. So, unfortunately, as I grab my Green Bay Packer dummy that I guess upside down on my bar, I gotta pick the Packers, and I hate to say it, I gotta pick the Packers. I actually think it's gonna be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mitch actually pulls this off. But I gotta take the Packers, and I'm gonna take them 20-17.
Okay, Jay has them 20-17. Hey, Terrence, you up next.
Yeah, defensively, we're going to play a great game, I believe. Trubisky's going to do some things that we've been wanting to do for a while, but unfortunately, the game's in Green Bay. Fans or no fans. Aaron Rodgers, hate to do it, but 24-13 Packers.
24-13. Guy, you're up.
Defense. Everything that we need as far as breaks and stuff are concerned, like I was saying about the defense, Green Bay's defense, things that they're just really bad at. Our defense is lights out. We can't score points. I'm saying 24-14. Puffle. I don't know how to say that, man, but like I said, you know what? We could talk like I've been saying all along, man. I think the defense they're professionals and they go out there and they grunt regardless. But I do feel like they will probably look at this game. If we're not able to move the ball, they may, instead of play at 100%, they might play at 97%, but it don't even matter. They give up 10 points when we can't score a touchdown, we still lose. So 24-14, yeah, them.
Okay, 24-14. Here's my prediction. I have, Packers 28. Man, I hate to say this. Man, I hate them damn Packers. I'm sorry. I hate them darn Packers.
Bears, 2020.
And the Packers 28. Okay, hey, we're going to bring our guests on because we like to put them on the spot. We have 2 coaches on. I think Zimmy is away from his camera right now. So we're going to bring Physique on and get his prediction for the game. Physique, what is your prediction for the game?
Well, I think with Mitch having the opportunity to sit on the sidelines, he has to come out to play. He has to show that he's worthy. I think he's going to come out and put up a game that you've never seen before. I think the offense has to go back to the basics offense, move the chain, keep it simple, get the plays, do the plays that they did early on with the tight end. I like that little dig route they do where he does a dig and find an open spot and sit. The one thing that Mitch is going to bring to the game that he can run. Okay, I'm going to go with them. They're going to be motivated because the fact this is a game that they play every year. I'm going to go with the underdog, and the underdog is going to be there. But I think the defense is going to come to play. I think they're going to score, which they do. They need to score in order to be successful in winning this game. I know they get the turnovers, but I would like to see them score. The special teams, every time they're down in the 30, they got to put 3 up. They cannot walk away with an egg. They have to put some points on the board. And if you notice early in the year, that's how a lot of the games, they stayed in the game by putting points on the board. So regardless of how they do it, they need to do it. So I'm going to go with the underdogs, with the Bears, 24-17.
Oh, I like
All right, Physique. All right. Okay.
I like it.
Okay. Hey,
I like it.
Okay, we just brought Zimmy into the broadcast. Hey, Zimmy, you got the tough spot. You the last person. We want to hear what your prediction is. Oh, your mic is mute. Hold on. Start over. Your mic is mute. I think it's mute on your side. I'm going to go back to a wide shot. There you go. There you go. Start over, Zim. You was mute. You mute again.
Yeah,
Let me come back out to wide shot. Okay, I don't hear.
Okay, there you go. Can you got me now?
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Okay, I said
yep,
30, 30, 24 Green Bay, as much as it hurts me to say that. But Green Bay has showed propensity to not walk away without putting some kind of points on the board, whether it's a 3 or a touchdown. The Bears tend to walk away, points on the field on 30-24 Green Bay.
Okay,
30 points. 30 points. The Bears giving up 30? Oh, that's a lot.
30.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of points. You're right.
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points.
Let me do a quick recap what we have. We have Physique. Physique said the Bears winning 24-17. He went with the underdog. Plank went with the Packers 28-15. Zam went with the Packers 30-24. I went with the Packers 28-13. Jay went with the Packers 2017. Terrence went with the Packers 24-13. Tammy didn't send me her prediction because she wasn't feeling good. See, we lost Zam, but we're bringing him back on. But we're about to get to the part where we get to the football tutorial. What's that?
24-14 Packers.
So I was gonna say, what was the guy for? Okay, 24-14. Okay. I was just trying to see what guy prediction was.
Oh, I'm sorry, guy. I missed you. 24-14. I got all this gibberish rolled around. I couldn't read all my writing. Okay, hold on. I want to get Zim back in. Okay, so we're going to football 101. Football 101, for those who are first-time viewers, is a football tutorial that we do on the prediction show. The first show we did was Jason Williams, who was a former NFL linebacker, and he talked about the linebacker position. The next week we did wide receivers, which was by Jay, who was a college wide receiver. The next week we did football 101 was by Keith Flournoy, who was a college defensive back. Then we brought on, D. Hamp, who did it on. He was a college and the Arena League football quarterback. He did it on quarterbacking, and then we brought on Physique, who did it on football, and we kind of talked about his history of playing football at Western Illinois, and also him playing for Julian's football team, who had won the Prep Bowl back in 1979. So on the broadcast tonight for football 101, I hear a lot of noise going on. Is Emmerson Zimmy Buie, who's a football and basketball coach, and Kevin Zeke Murray. How both of y'all doing tonight?
Doing great. Again, thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay. So we were supposed to have Ed Junkins on tonight, but he couldn't make it on the broadcast tonight. I think Ed is currently a coach for, I believe he's at Hales. I know at some point he was at Julian for a while, which he had actually went to high school as well. So, hey, we'd like to start off with Zeke. Can you give us a brief background of yourself, as far as coaching? What made you get into coaching? How did you decide?
You're breaking up, Bernard.
Am I breaking up? Okay. Hey, Zeke, I was trying. My question was, what made you get into coaching?
What made me get into coaching? I saw it as an opportunity to give back. As a police officer, I saw a lot of stuff that was going on, and I wanted to be a part of making a difference. So I felt that the best way I could do that was to go into coaching. And those are the things I've done. I had a good coach. I have had good coaches. J.W. Smith was a great coach, along with Will Smith, excellent high school coaches. I've had some good coaches in college. And I thought by going into the community and working with the young men, especially being a Chicago public school product myself, that was my opportunity to work my circle. And I just wanted to bring to them the enjoyment that I had in high school, which Julian, it was fantastic to play for. And like I said before, if I had to go back to a certain year, high school years would probably be those high school years would be the one. But I just wanted to give the kids an opportunity. I wanted to be that guy to show them that there's opportunities out here. I wanted to be able to share my experience as well as be that person that they feel they can come to in time of need. Because as you know, high school coaches, especially in the public school, you wear many hats. You the father, you everything. You the mother, you the social worker. You all those things all wrapped up in one. And I want to be that man, that black man that they feel that they can be honest with. I can be honest with them, and that I can say what I'm going to do and follow through with it. Because I know from a lot of experience and just talking from them with them that they've had a lot to be an inspiration in their life in that little time that I had, which is usually 4 years in high school. So that was my idea of giving back.
Okay. Hey, Zimmy, I'd like to ask you the same question. What made you get into coaching?
Well, coaching became a passion because at the end of the day, it's not really about the sport. It's about life. And I think there has been no greater impact from a societal standpoint as far as people learning about themselves, learning about others, and bringing people together that has occurred on the field or on some kind of court. So I looked at coaching as an opportunity for me to build relationships from the standpoint of teaching kids how to be successful in life and passing on information that they will need to deal with situations, not just on the field, but they're going to encounter as they go through school, as they go through marriage, as they go through adversity and things like that. So that's why I kind of gravitated to it.
Good point. I like that.
Excellent, man.
I like that.
Point. Yeah, I like that. Kind of giving back to the community in another way, because there's multiple ways. Also, myself, I want to mention that I actually coached youth football for about 8 years, and Physique, I actually coached one of your guys a few years ago before he got to high school, Tyler Newkirk.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. When I coached Tyler Newkirk, he was our starting quarterback, and he was the defensive back. Small world, right?
It is a small world. Small world.
Right. Hey, the next question I have is kind of interesting. It's kind of almost similar to the previous question is, what does it mean to be a coach? You want to start off, Emmerson? What does it mean to be a coach?
Sure. It's an honor to, if I had to sum it up in one word, it's an honor because you're going into an atmosphere where when somebody dubs you and calls you coach, it's similar to calling you dad or mom. And it's something that you never lose, right? Because it's an opportunity to create another way of reaching a kid and communicating a kid to open up, again, those lines of communication and guidance and mentoring that they're going to need for life. Not just for the kid in all cases, but for the parents as well. Because a lot of parents, don't do well coaching their kids, right? Because they never get out of parent mode. But if they would stop to think about the fundamentals of coaching and what they're really there to do, and if they can just do it successfully, it actually makes them a better parent because your kid looks at you different when they get older. So you can't just coach or parent for the day. You have to parent and coach for tomorrow, because at the end of the day, it's about building a trust, a friendship, and a relationship. So it's an honor.
Great point. Great point. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
What about you, Physique? What does it mean to be a coach?
Coach to me is the ultimate respect that you have for that person, that leader. It's a commitment that you don't stop just on the field. You are that coach off the field, and you're a person that everyone, they can believe in you and they can rely on you. I think as a coach, it's better. You have to make sure that when you're teaching young men, and I've had actually some girls too that play for me, that you want to teach them about trust. As Jimmy mentioned, trust is important because you find that a lot of young men don't trust everyone. So once they develop that trust with you as a coach, you got to make sure you're there all the time and you're there for them in the good time as well as the bad time. You got to make sure also that you teach them about expectations and work ethics, because the worst thing you could ever do is expect somebody to do something if they don't have the work ethic to do it. So in a way, you're teaching them to be the better than what they actually think they can be. And then the last thing I think is selfishness. You have to make sure you teach them to be selfless, because in order to be on any type of championship team, in order to run any Fortune 500 company, in order to have any successful family, those are the three things that you need to have instilled in them. You have to have that trust, you have to have expectation and make sure the work ethic matches it, and then you have to make sure you're selfless, that you're doing everything you possibly can for your player or for your friend, because we all develop a family relationship. Even right today, a lot of kids that I've coached, I'm still in relationship with them, and actually it's interesting because I've had the opportunity to coach some of my players' kids, which was great. And the biggest satisfaction to me as a coach is when your players come back and coach with you. And it's like your own son coming back and coaching with you. And I thought that was great. They enjoyed it. And a lot of them have gone on to coach at other schools. So that's always good to see a lot. But the biggest thing to what I like out of coaching is watching a lot of young men who became so successful as husbands, as fathers, giving back to the community. And I think when you look at success, that is success for me, because I did what I was supposed to do. I gave them that opportunity to be better than me. I gave them that opportunity to go out and do what they need to do for the community. So when it comes to a legacy, my legacy is not going to probably be how many games I won or how many players played in the NFL. I think my legacy for me is how many young men who became successful in being great husbands, great fathers, and community workers.
Amen.
Okay.
Man, that's great. That's great.
Hey,
That's
thank you,
absolutely
Physique.
great.
I'm gonna show some comments that we're receiving on YouTube, so you'll see them at the bottom of the screen every now and then. We'd like to thank everybody who's actually watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. So you'll see a comment down there. Hey, Guy, did you have a question for one of our guests tonight?
I do. Well, before I even give a question, man, Physique, Zim, as a black man, I appreciate y'all. A lot of times I think brothers get out here and they think it's soft. Tell another brother he's all good. They're like, yeah, he's straight. I thank y'all and I appreciate y'all, because a lot of people don't understand. First of all, you two brothers that grew up in the hood, you guys show what happens when someone comes from this community and they believe in themselves and they have some men who are in that system that teach them how to be men, and instead of taking that stuff, they regurgitate that stuff back to other people, other children. So like you guys say, I appreciate y'all, man. I thank y'all very much, because some of these brothers and sisters, as much as we don't know what their home situation looks like, but you guys are like their extended father. And you guys give them tutelage, and just like you say, when these men become upward citizens, very productive members of society, great husbands, and of course, great team members at their jobs and the profession they use, a lot of it has to do with you guys. But the question that I have is, do you guys find it easier to relate to these kids when they're able to understand that their background is pretty much the same as yours?
You want to answer that first, Zimmy?
Sure. So, I got this saying, and usually I have to tell it to parents. I say, don't teach your kids your fears, right?
Yeah.
And as adults, we do that quite often. We teach our kids our fears, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be out in the street, whether it be from the adversity we have on a racial tip, societal tip. We teach them our fears. So we pass that on, and we tend to do the same thing when we go into a coaching mode sometimes. And that's the one thing we can't do. So often, I'll be working with kids and their parents will come to me and they say, Coach Buie, isn't that too much for them to learn? And my response is always, have you ever gone to recess? And they're like, yeah, when I was in school. I said, no. Have you ever gone to recess and watch your kids play? Have you ever gone to a park and watch your kids play or watch them play on the street? You have kids 8, 9, 12, 14 years old playing in the street. They're calling plays. They're running routes. They're emulating all of the skill sets that they see on TV from professionals, college, or whoever else. And they're doing it without a coach. They're calling their own fouls. They're calling their own plays. They're calling their own defenses, right? What we have to do as coaches is you have to take it, harness it, teach them the game, and still allow them to do that. So, so much of it is sports are 90% mental, 10% physical. And it's always going to be like that. And that's why you can even look at players today and see where they're going to go as a player a lot of times, because they may be athletically gifted and talented, and they have no IQ. Even at the professional level, the college level, definitely the high school level and below, they don't have it. So, I usually approach the game in that respect, that I don't want to teach them my fears. So I teach them everything I know about the game. I read about the game. I expose them to everything. And I let them determine how much they can retain and things like that. And then I try to incentivize them to retain it because I do it through repetition. And then ultimately, I also know that they're going to get it at some point. A kid that's 10 today may be fourth string, and at 11, he'll be first string because on his clock, he's going to get it.
Great point.
Okay, great point. Hey, I want to point this out before Physique answer this question. The interesting thing is both of you guys are in law enforcement. and and as much as you kind of hear what you hear in today's society, some conflict with law enforcement and people in the Black community. A lot of our football coaches are police officers. I know at least one of my football coaches, Smokey, was a police officer as well. So that is not unusual that a lot of law enforcement in different departments, that actually give their free time to coach football. So Physique, you up on that question?
Well, I like what Buie said about the law of non-resistance, and so he's absolutely right. But I think what happens with me, and when you have a head football coach, you have to have develop what they call culture, right? And what culture means to me, not only if I'm coaching kids, but I got to coach my administration, which is with principals and athletic directors. I got to coach my parents. And then I coach my kids, because the ideal, what I'm trying to get everyone is to buy into the system. If I got the school administration and the principal showing love for the football players, if I got the parents showing love, because what you find out that when you have your parent meeting, you find out different things from having those meetings, right? But what I want to do is make sure I establish a base with all three levels: the school principal, the AD, the parents, and then the kids. Because if I have all three on the same page, then I have a better opportunity to present my program. So the program is where we used to take kids to camp. And in Chicago, I had to do that because every kid I've had either had a reason why they couldn't come to practice. So they knew by going to camp, which we would go away to camp, it was 6 days of nothing but football 4 times a day. And they eat, sleep, drink football. But I took them out of their environment. And I heard somebody say about exposure. That is exposure that they need, because what I realized that a lot of times kids will not have the opportunity to play football. I read something the other day that says 7% of high school kids play at a college level, and that's JUCO, Division III, NAIA, Division II, Division I. 7%. So I want to give kids an opportunity to have that experience, even if they don't go to the next level to play. And that's what we would do. We would go to camp, and we would do nothing but football. Because one thing I realized in any type of program I ever had, if I had a problem, it was always about those three things I mentioned before, about the trust and making sure expectations are met with the work ethic and selfishness. And when we took them to camp, that was the opportunity for them to learn to trust one another, to also understand that the work you put in is what you're going to get out. You reap what you sow. And being selfish, we cannot do this alone. You need to look to the left, you need to look to the right, because of that's your family. And when we go to different schools, guess what? We walk in there together and we lead together. So I wanted to teach that, and I think by teaching that, they can take it over to their regular life. Because you always hear people say football is a game of life, right? But life is a game in itself. And if it's not, you have to know how to play it, okay, in order to get the things that you're trying to get out of it. So I think it was always good for me to be able to take my kids, give them an understanding where they was coming from, give them an opportunity, give them exposure. I know they joke me now because we used to play teams, like big teams, but I was able to take them to those different schools where we had a coach breakfast, where we had breakfast before the game. I mean, I wanted to give them that college experience at a high school, and a lot of schools we went to actually thought we was Catholic school, and we wasn't. And this is when I was at Kenwood Academy, and then we did the same thing at South Shore. So it was a plan that I saw that worked, and everywhere I went, I implemented. I did switch it up just a little bit, but for the most part, I stuck to what worked. Why would I change up?
Okay. Hey, we about to end the broadcast in the next minute or two. We got about 2 minutes left on the broadcast. I want to see if Terrence or Plank had any questions or comments before we closed out. Jay?
Actually, go ahead, Jay, please.
Okay, thanks, Plank. I actually don't have no questions. I just really have a comment about how I look at you guys and think about how it's really just an honor to be on this broadcast with y'all, just to hear y'all guys talk about the sacrifices and the things that you guys do to coach these kids, because the bottom line is, that's what they need. And it's not even about coaching. It's really about showing them a way out. It's showing leadership, and just to let them know that it's actually other avenues. It's actually other avenues out of here to be able to take their mind off of things that's not negative, and to put their talents to something positive is a great thing. And that's my comment. I actually don't have no questions, but I commend you guys for that. I really do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, what you had, Plank?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is, I thank you for coaching these kids. A lot of times you have to show a lot of commitment to the kids, and you make sure you establish a bond with them. Also, one of the things that I found is I see a lot of parents live vicariously through their kids through some activity. So a lot of times they think they have what's best for the kid at heart, but they really don't, because they want to say, I didn't make it as a football player, so I'm gonna make my son make it. Versus you all as coaches, you're putting everything into the kid based on what you think he can be.
Right.
So it's an entirely different perspective and a way that you're looking for that. And I just take my hats off to both of you brothers, and I do appreciate everything that you've done for the community.
Hey, Bernard, can I say something real quick?
Yes. Oh, yes. Go ahead, Zeke.
I would be remiss if I didn't say this, because as you said, as police officers, that was our job that paid the bills. Coaching in Chicago Public School, you don't make a lot of money. But I would be remiss if I don't say this. I didn't want my family ever to lack because of what I was doing for other families, right? So my wife, I have a great wife who coached with me for the last 18, 19 years. I'm not going to say I was smart in doing it, but I said, you know what? Quality time. I won't put you in charge of the parents.
There you go.
And it worked. I mean, it worked. So that piece, which is a piece of the puzzle, a very important dealing with parents, was dealt with, and my wife dealt with that a lot. And I just want to give her, just dues because she was there right along with me. And my kids, they didn't miss out on anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Zimmy, what's your closing remark?
Hey, real quick, in my view, it wasn't being in law enforcement that got me to coach. It's being a player and having these role models and having the opportunity to bond with a bunch of other young men coming up that ended up making me go into law enforcement. Because long before I was in the FBI or in the military, I was an athlete and I had friends that I pulled from and learned from, and I had role models that taught me. So I think the reason you probably see a lot of people, military, law enforcement, people who come out of some military structure or paramilitary structure go back into coaching is because the fundamentals and the influences they had as a player that developed them into men made them search for the opportunity to lead other men and gravitate and be on a team with other men and find that bond to continue it forward. And it's just coming back full circle.
That's it.
It's the bond. You're exactly right. It's the
Hey,
bond.
I like
It's the bond.
I like to thank both
It's the bond.
Emmerson, Zimmy, and Kevin Physique Murray for coming on tonight. I'd like to thank my co-host tonight, Moore, Keith Flournoy, Jaye Beasley, and Terrence for sitting in tonight for Tammy tonight. So tune us in Sunday, 30 minutes after the game. So I'm estimating that's probably about 10:30?
10:30, 11, unfortunately.